Muslim Charities Forum is a new, exciting development in the international relief development arena and Muslim NGO field, and it's embarked upon a courageous and ambitious program of helping to develop best practice and to share best learnings in the Muslim NGO sector.
Everybody here has done tremendous work. It's not only a question of raising money, but using the money effectively. That, I think, is very, very important. In fact, also it's very important that we keep our expense ratio as low as possible. That, I think, is so very, very vital. Now, the United Kingdom government has provided safe drinking water, has provided shelter, food packages, and also built schools. But we must not stop. There is still plenty more work that needs to be done. In Punjab and Khyber area, there is progress being made on recovery and reconstruction. But in Sindh, which is one of the worst hit areas, many people remain in camps, still heavily reliant on international aid. Unfortunately, as the flooding happened 6 months ago, it is not currently getting the widespread attention it deserves, and thus less funding is being raised compared to the immediate aftermath of the disaster. There is still great need to build the infrastructure in Pakistan once the relief efforts have finished. Schools, hospitals, and roads are extremely important and need to be rebuilt urgently in order to help Pakistan recover more quickly. I must also acknowledge the efforts of many people in the United Kingdom who have raised considerable funds in aid of the relief efforts. It is our duty to continue to distribute in whatever way we can and help the Pakistani people recover from the flooding problems. It is something that will not be achieved overnight, and we need to show to the Pakistani people that we are giving them support both now and in the long-term rebuilding process. We should all work together to achieve this. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to the British public for their kind donations. And I mean British public, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, Jews, people with faith, people without faith, who were very generous, who made a huge contribution to DEC appeal and also the Muslim charities. 29 million pounds that you've raised, and probably another 20 million through smaller organizations, mosques, community leaders, local authorities. I know Sheffield City Council, I was there with the buckets on the streets in Rotherham Borough Council. In fact, Councillor Jangir Akhtar is going with me middle of next month to spend the money that they collected. Lots of other people. So I think, it would be wrong for us to say, those of us in this room, to claim credit. There's lots of people who have been very generous. Absolutely. I don't think that they've been generous enough elsewhere. I think British public have been generous after Haiti, tsunami, earthquake, lots of other disasters. I think the British public have been generous. We could have been even more generous. Our government has been generous, and we want to say thank you to the British government too. But unfortunately, Pakistan's, like Lord Sheikh has said, this was the worst disaster in Pakistan's history. In fact, it was the worst that the United Nations had to deal with. And look at the predictions around the world, that there would be thousands or hundreds of thousands of children that will die. There were many people, but thank God, I think Pakistani people have dealt with this disaster very well. But the big construction work, people are still living in tents. Their schools, hospitals. I know that the Saudis have taken their field hospital back. There is a lot of work that still needs to be done. And that's why it's important, and that's why I want to say thank you for organizing this meeting and also drawing people's attention back to Pakistan, that there are people living in tents, there are children who are not going to school. So thank you for drawing the attention. I saw the wonderful coverage when you met with Prime Minister Gilani and also your conference. I've been keeping eye on you. You're doing wonderful work, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to give you the full support that you deserve. Thank you very much.
I'm going to talk about our celebration. We are celebrating many events or many achievements, celebrating the diverse culture of our country, which allowed organizations from different ethnic backgrounds to grow effectively from strength to strength. We are celebrating the contribution of the greater society of Great Britain, which has been mentioned by every and each one. Then we are celebrating the contribution of the smaller community, of the Muslim community in the country. Then we are celebrating the achievement of the organizations and the maturity of their thoughts to come after 15, 20 years to sit down on one platform and to invite other organizations to join as well. We are celebrating the new role which should be playing actually in UK and globally. This kind of celebration gives me a new dimension of our all as value-based. This is the new terminology which I'm trying to put on the table. Value-based organization, more uniting people than dividing it through faith-based terminology.
It was great to see the Muslim charities working together in the Muslim Charities Forum. I think that's a fantastic initiative, and great to see that growing strength of all those charities working together. But I think most importantly, great to be focusing on Pakistan. The needs there are still enormous, and none of us in the humanitarian sector must forget that. There's still a great deal of work to do, not only in raising more money and undertaking more programs in Pakistan, but also in persuading our governments to give more for the huge humanitarian effort that is still required. Well, absolutely. I've been working with Muslim charities for a long time, obviously with Dr. Hanny, and I think his formulation of values-based organisations is very important. What unites us and what divides us is not religion, it is our desire to help more people in the humanitarian way. That's the most important value we all share.
Obviously, in terms of the attendance, the number of people who were there, the representatives of the different charities, as well as the representatives from non-Muslim charities, I thought it was a really useful discussion about where Pakistan is 6 months on after the floods, and there was also a very useful, very informative exchange of information about the different challenges that the charitable sector faces as a whole, which I think is also very useful in the context of Pakistan as well.
We know that the British government has given vast sums to Pakistan. What more can the British government do to help Muslim charities and non-Muslim charities really rebuild Pakistan?
Well, I mean, I think there's a longer term process of aid. Obviously, Britain is a large donor to Pakistan, and I think obviously that has to continue. The aid has to be well targeted to the areas that need it the most, and focusing on the projects that will essentially help the Pakistanis to help themselves in the future. And I think there's a big job of work to do in terms of political support as well. Pakistan, we know, has many challenges in terms of its political society, its civic society, and I think that the British government, should focus on assisting to rebuild civic society in Pakistan, because it faces problems on a number of different levels, including terrorism as well as natural disasters. It's a kind of lethal cocktail, and British government and other Western governments have a duty to do what they can to assist the people to be able to fend off all these different challenges.